Hello everyone, my name is Nibble and this is my channel where I draw things that I like and explore ideas for fun. I have been watching redesign videos from many other artists for a long time, months or even years at this point, and I've always wanted to kind of join in the fun but lacked the courage to do so. This is the first video that I ever make. And for starters, I decided to try my hand at redesigning My Little Pony characters in my own style, starting from Twilight Sparkle. She is kind of the central main character of the series, so why not start with her? Just for clarity, I am not specifically working on Equestria Girls redesigns, but more generally what the main cast would look like as human beings. This mainly means that my designs are not meant to be high school students, but perhaps adult or college versions of the girls. Anyways, moving on to the designing aspect. When we think of Twilight Sparkle, we all collectively think of course, a studious girl, a bookworm, and I think she would absolutely go to college, which is why I decided to go for an academic look for her, just like many other artists did. For the first design, I took a lot of inspiration from light academia fashion. I really wanted to see Twilight wear a long skirt, a very comfy sweater, and a cute beret because it looks like such a perfect outfit to go to college. Honestly, this was the first design that I've worked on, and I think I was scared of being more daring and creative with the fashion choices, which is something that I kind of regret because at the moment of recording and editing these videos, I have already completed all the other girls' designs, and looking back, I wish I took more unconventional and creative choices for their wardrobe, but oh well, it is what it is. These videos already took me so long to complete, so I am just going to upload them as they are and forget about it, or else I will never move forward. The second design is still quite light academia coded, but a little less refined, if you will, a little more casual. I still wanted to experiment with a long skirt look, but this time I gave her a button-up shirt and a sleeveless, comfy sweater. I did struggle a little bit with the palette. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go for cool tones or warm tones, and you will see that I actually change her sweater color later on. With the third design, I decided to go for a more unconventional choice, which is pants. I was getting too comfortable in my long skirt bias, so I thought, why not try something a little controversial? Honestly, now that I look back at this design, she is kind of giving middle-aged physics teacher. You can see that for a moment I gave her a jacket, but I immediately changed my mind because it was looking a little too cursed. Moving on to the fourth and last design, I decided to go for something a little bit more preppy, I guess. I gave her a sweater, a white shirt with a bow around her neck, plaid knee-length skirt, and knee-high socks. I also tried to stay more within her original colors palette-wise. Now, I am not sure which style truly fits her the most. Perhaps if I were to design her again, I would lean more into the preppy vibes. Perhaps give her glasses too, play more with accessories and such. But this was my first attempt. I was a bit nervous and I think I should just take this as a challenge to push myself to do better next time. Also, as a side note, these renders took me way too long. I think I spent a few hours on these, which is way too excessive since they are meant to just be concepts and explore ideas. I was definitely feeling the performance pressure. Anyways, here's what the final concepts look like. Let me know which one is your favorite and which one you think fits Twilight the most. Now, moving on to the final illustration, I decided to go for the second concept. I also do not have footage of the sketching process because, as you can see, the sketch was done traditionally on paper. I have been playing with the idea of My Little Pony human redesigns for a long while, and I originally sketched out the very first ideas on my sketchbook. I think one day I might record a sketchbook tour because I have a few other ideas and concepts in there, and I personally always really enjoy looking at other people's sketchbooks. I find it to be supremely entertaining and inspiring. I love to see messy and quick doodles as much as refined, high production pieces of art. Back to the drawing, as you can see, I changed the color of the sleeveless sweater and I also slightly changed the skirt pattern. It is still blue, but I removed the cutie mark and I went for a starry sky type pattern instead. I honestly do not like the pose I went for, but oh well, I already fully rendered this illustration, so there's no going back now. Perhaps if people really like this series of redesigns, I might work on a few more other iterations. Maybe give her a whole new wardrobe. Anyhow, this is what Twilight Sparkle Human Redesign ended up looking like. Moving on to our girl Rarity. Rarity, oh Rarity. I think I struggled the most with Rarity's design because in my head, she needed to have, of course, an extremely exquisite taste in fashion. I needed her to look like she straight up came out of The Devil Wears Prada. She is the fashionista of the show, after all. The problem is that I am not a fashionista at all. This is meant to be a design challenge though, so I guess that's part of the struggle and the learning process. Rarity's pony palette is primarily white and purple, of course, so I wanted to stay true to that. I wanted her outfits to be simple yet classy, clean lines, not overcrowded with details, tasteful and refined. Now, to some people, a faux fur crop jacket might not necessarily count as a tasteful and refined piece of clothing, but I nonetheless chose it as a strong statement piece for my first concept idea. And yes, it is faux fur because I do not stand for wearing someone's skin as a fashion choice. Do not fight me over this. At first, you can see that I played with the idea of giving her a high ponytail, but I later changed her hairstyle to more closely resemble her original pony form hairdo. Overall, except for a couple exceptions, I did try to stay as faithful to the original main styles, because especially in Rarity's case, to me they are sort of iconic and very defining in their character identities. I just could not give up on Rarity's OG's hairstyle because it just looks way too fabulous and in character. Back to the clothes, you can see that the first two concepts were centered around a simple black and white color combo, while with the third concept, I tried to give her a very light pastel purple tight dress and long sleeve jacket. I didn't necessarily like this idea though, so I went for the fourth design after all. Because even though I originally was hellbent on giving Rarity a pencil skirt, when I gave her pants, it sort of clicked and it looked like something that is not usually seen within the realm of redesigns, at least as it concerns Rarity. So here's what the four concepts came out. I honestly do not know what I was doing with the second outfit. It kind of looks like a mess, but whatever, we have to keep it moving. Now, finally, we are working on Rarity's final illustration. As previously mentioned, I decided to go for the fourth concept because I somehow really like the idea of her wearing pants. She kind of looks like a businesswoman, ready to enter the building and slay the day. which might or might not be the entire reason why I was sold onto this outfit idea. I've watched many My Little Pony redesign videos, and I think that Rarity usually ends up having skirts, which is something that is absolutely fine, of course. Please don't get me wrong. I do love Rarity wearing skirts. I especially love when people give her incredibly high fashion and outrageous outfits, but I rarely see her wearing pants. Now, as I previously mentioned earlier in the video, these design ideas and illustrations have been completed months ago. And now that I look back on them, I do have a few regrets, and I wish I did things a little bit differently. They kind of look ugly to me now. Which I think is something that a lot of artists can relate to. You know, looking back at old art and cringing to the moon and back. I especially personally struggle a lot with shoes. I am admittedly really bad at choosing and designing shoes, which is a shame because they are a big part of the outfit. As someone whose primary fashion choice is house pants and oversized sweaters, I cannot stress enough how challenging this artistic exercise is. But that is the struggle of the artist, isn't it? We must strive to improve and refine our weaknesses. Honestly, if I were to redesign Rarity again, I would love to see her in some kind of high fashion Met Gala outfit. Like, think of Anna Hathaway's Versace 2023 gown, or Rihanna's Bishop outfit, or, hear me out, I know this is going to be controversial, but since I did choose to give Rarity pants in my redesign, imagine Rarity in Chadwick Boseman's 2018 Met Gala outfit. I know it's controversial, but listen, I think Rarity in pants looks incredible. And I think she would eat with this outfit. I will admit though, I do love women in masculine outfits, so perhaps that is a bias of mine. You know, actually, now that I think about this, My Little Pony human versions in Met Gala outfits might be a really fire idea. Like, just by quickly scrolling through some of the most iconic Met Gala outfits from the last few years, I can already picture so many of the main 6 girlies wearing some of these outfits, which would look perfect on them. Ugh, I'm getting so many ideas. I think the main problem would be to effectively render these complicated outfits in a flattering way without spending an entire month on each one of them. The time that it took me to work on these redesigns, which are quite simple looking honestly, is already really long. So I can only imagine how long it would take to render an intricate, high fashion piece of clothing. I think for my future projects, I will try being more efficient with the rendering process. Oh my gosh, looking at this footage again after so many months is so painful because I honestly do not like how these illustrations look. I can see so many mistakes and oh my gosh, it's so painful. You can really tell I did not know what I was doing with the shoes. I do like the idea of the outfit fabric being shiny though, like some sort of sequins. I think our girl Rarity does need some shine in her outfit, just like her diamond cutie mark. Anyways, the illustration is almost done. Just a few finishing touches, some last minute rendering, and this is how Rarity turned out. So, this is how Twilight Sparkle and Rarity ended up looking like in their human form, designed by me. Again, this is by now pretty old art, and if I could, I would make some changes here and there, but this was a fun exercise nonetheless. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, let YouTube know by liking and possibly subscribing, because by now we all know how this platform works. Thank you for watching, take care, and see you next time.